Welcome back, those of you who are following our video tutorial series. This is part 4 where we'll be covering research and crafting. Now I have finished some of the base areas that we started in part 2 just so we can move on to the new areas this time. So these are the rooms that we started. I've installed double beds and couples will now share a double bed and get a move bonus for sharing with a loved one. In the prisoner room, I have given them a double bed and a single bed set for medical. This is different to the bed that you will research later, a medical bed that actually increases their healing rate. I've also given them a table and chair to eat their meals at and a pot plant just to cheer up the room. Over here next to the furnace we used to have some batteries. I've moved these to their own room with room to add more batteries as the base grows. The reason for that is that I want to start putting the research tables here, and most of my researchers work near the farms, the kitchens and the fridge. So I want to keep their walk distance as short as possible. Along this line I've also started installing concrete pathways. I may use nicer flooring later, but concrete is a fast walk path, so they're able to move from area to area quicker. I've also put those around the gardens to keep them moving faster. We have the two crops we started with, potato plants and strawberry plants for food, but I've added two crops. This one requires a skill of 8. It's called heel root, and as soon as you have someone who is able to make it, you should plant it, you should get one running. The basic medicine looks like these, with the blue plus, a blue pill with a plus on it, and this one looks like a green lolly with a red plus on it. This is the herbal medicine. It's the most basic medicine in the game, but it is far better than nothing, and you can grow it yourself. You can sometimes sell surplus to traders, but medicine is expensive to buy from traders, so until you have a good income source, get some of this growing. The other one that I've planted is cotton, and that's so when we get to the tailor bench we'll have some material that we'll be able to turn it into clothing. You can also use leather from animals you've hunted or farmed, or wool that they produce from farmed animals as well. Down here I've finished expanding the fridge. I put in the outside wall first and then carved out the inside so the fridge temperature didn't drop while we were making the expansion. And the final new area is where we're going to put our crafting zone. We've moved the two stockpiles in here. This is the dumping stockpile at the top and this is the normal stockpile at the bottom. These are similar to the two stockpiles we had up here previously, but I moved them inside for a couple of reasons. One, in the case of, I keep calling it toxic fallout, but I think it's actually referred to as acid rain. Your people can't go outside without getting hurt. So I like a little bit of their supplies to be inside, that way if they are trapped inside for any period of time, they can continue to be productive. So we're going to be converting a lot of this stone into things shortly. In the normal stockpile, this is everything else, the wood, the metal, the plasteel, leathers, clothing, weapons, everything is getting dumped in here at the moment. We may split it out later, but we'll look into that once we have more to work with. So first things first, we're going to need to get research going. We have two crafting tables available to us at the moment. That is the Sculptors table and the tailoring tables, but to unlock more of them we actually need to set up a research table. So that's under production and simple research bench. I'm just going to make it out of wood and we'll get them working on that. Now while they complete that, we'll go and get them started on building the other crafting tables that we will require. We'll start with a sculptor's table and we'll get them working on there is a hand tailoring bench and an electric tailoring bench. The electric tailoring bench is faster. So I'm going to put in an electric. I figure if the power is out, then they've got more things to worry about than making hats. Oh, looks like our warg got injured, probably hunting an animal. Ah, they're on the research table already, good. Once that's built, you're able to select a research to start. I'd already started one, which is the first one I usually do, stone cutting. This one is an advantage. We're going to start making use of all those stone chunks we have lying around, and as there is an abundance here, we can also use it as a bit of a cash crop. Auto doors are excellent, but they require electricity. They close faster than normal doors, but I wouldn't put them everywhere, because one, because of the electricity demand, and two, because you don't need the speed. Things like on your freezer unit or on where you've built base defences or areas that you want to channel enemies, and you want your people to get through the door and the door to close quickly, but you want the enemies to have to fight their way through. Pemmican is a new food type I haven't played around with yet. I'll look at that later. Devil Strand is one of the better fibres in the game, but it is temperamental to grow. It suffers quite a little from upsets in its growing cycle. Blights, hot weather, too cold. Even if you're growing it hydroponically, if the power goes out, it will take damage and the crop may not survive. So it is something that will start to grow later on, but it's something I'm not going to rely on at this point. Coloured lights is just a decoration. Brewing is an excellent cash crop, and your people get a bonus from being able to have a beer every now and then, but some of them suffer from binge drinking. So it comes with its, as you can imagine, the side effects that comes with. So, you know, do it at your own peril. I tend to run it as a treat, and if they can drink it before I can sell it to a trader, then hey, good on them. Smithing is what we will probably do next once we are finished stone cutting. That will allow us to make metal weapons and tools. Hydroponics, of course, is for growing plants inside, though the hydroponics uses rather a large amount of electricity for the amount of plants produced. So there is another alternative that we might cover in a different video. Microelectronics is things like advanced health monitors. It requires the advanced research table and other bits and pieces. Carpet making is nicer floors, of course. Machining is one we will do after we've done the smithing, and that is to make guns. Now, guns you can buy from traders, but or pick up from people that you kill, but they are very expensive. So to be able to make your own is an advantage. IEDs and mortars we'll cover later, and electric smelting will turn the metal slag back into usable metal and a few other things. These greyed out ones we won't be able to access until we've either completed other researches or we've built the advanced research table. Kelly is busy researching that at the moment. You do need to make sure you've assigned someone to do research work on the research tab, and make sure that their other jobs are covered, because they will be there quite a long time while they do the research. Looks like they've finished the stone cutting research. So we will now be able to build the stone cutting table, and we will set the next research running. The next research we're going to run is smithing. So we'll get that started. And we'll come down here and we'll get them to build the stone cutters. table. They've finished creating the Stonecutters table, so now we have Stonecutters, Sculptors, and an electric tailoring bench. So we're going to get started looking at these. The Stonecutters is the first one we're going to start with, and we need to add a bell. Now during this build we want to make stone blocks. They can use any stone block they can get their hands on. At the moment I'm going to set it for do forever, because stone blocks can be used in so many things, from sculptures to walls to floors, and you can also sell them. So they're a good cash crop. All that stone, especially on a mountainous map where we have this much stone, we're able to cash in on that as a cash crop. Now one of the other things that I will set is there's an allowed crafting skill here, 0 to 20. I'm actually going to set that 0 to 8. Now my reason for that is that I have two really good crafters. I think they're 9s and 12s, and I have some weak crafters. So this particular product, producing stone bricks, doesn't have a rating such as good or awful or great. Doesn't matter who creates them, a stone block is a stone block. So it's a good way for your weaker crafters to get practice without wasting good resources. So I'm going to get my weaker crafters building that. To show you what I mean, see, even this bed has a normal quality, this one is a poor, and this one is a good. So some bricks aren't affected by that. There's just a number of bricks produced. Now we're going to go to the Sculptors table. This one is different in the sense that you have a choice of small, large or grand. Because I'm going to be using fairly skilled crafters, I'm actually going to default to large. They sell a little bit better. They do take longer to build though. We're going to do forever for now, and we're going to turn off, I think this is, I always do this, I turn off all the rich ingredients. Especially some of them require 20 times the amount to build a statue of that size out of. Now this, we could leave wood on, but there's going to be plenty of stone blocks produced by your other crafters while they're getting experience that they can use to turn into different coloured statues to decorate your base with. What you don't decorate your base with, you can also sell for a good amount of money. So I usually just leave it on stone and let them go for it. However, on this one, the allowed artistic skill, instead of lowering the max level, I'm going to raise the minimum level so that no one below an 8 can craft a statue here. Now the electric tailoring bench, this one is a little different again. We're going to add a bell, and there's several different things you can build here. The different items have different effects, and also the material you make out of it has different effects. Some materials add coolness, some add warmth, some add flame retardant. So you need to look at the wiki if you're looking for a particular combination. However, at the moment we're in a hot environment, so I'll tend to make the clothing that leans towards the cooler, such as a duster is cooler than a parka, and I guess a hat is this one is similar to a beanie. So the cowboy hat is cooler than the beanie. So we're going to set up creating 5. I'm going to do until we have for all of these. They can use anything they can find. And we're going to set a minimum skill again on this, otherwise we'll get a lot of low level quality cloth. And we're going to add another bill for making t-shirts since we're in hot weather. I'm going to do until you have, and we're going to set the minimum skill. Now remember, when you do say create 5, they will keep 5 in stock or 10 in stock. If they put a hat on and take a hat off, that's still 1 in stock. So the only way to deal with those is to sell them, or later on when you have the crematorium you can burn clothes that are below a certain quality. Until then your storage yard will probably get rather full, as ours already is. In fact, I'm going to extend this so that we have a bit more room. Later on I may extend this wall out and add more. Later on we'll probably split it up into different areas. Now we're going to, our smithy is up and running. We're going to look into this. Again, we add a bill, and again there is lots of different things you can build. All of the weapons have different advantages and disadvantages. Blunt weapons do give a better chance of perhaps doing knockout damage. So I'm just going to start by creating a few maces. I'm going to set it to keep, say, 5 in stock. Do until you have. Now we're going to go to the detail screen here again. We're going to want to turn off all the special materials. For now they can just make them out of steel. Now there is a difference here though. There's the minimum allowed crafting skill again, which we're going to set to 8. Because the quality of the object does affect the damage of the weapon and the value of the weapon. So the wiki explains it in more detail, but and the material too that you build it out of. For now they can use steel. I do have some plasteel in stock, but while they're getting experience they can just use the steel. Now this one is different though, that we have an inequality. So on this one we're going to change it to actually be normal as the minimum. You can change the minimum or maximum. So it'll produce an item between normal to legendary level. Now that means we won't get the poor and shoddy versions. You may still see them in the stockpile, but that'll be because someone will put down, will change an old weapon for a good new weapon, or it's a weapon you picked up off a dead body. Right, so we're going to hit go on that. We're just waiting on them finishing the research for making rifles. And there we go. Research screen will just give them something to do for now. We're going to get them started on building that. This one is the machining table. It requires electricity. You can place it there. And we're up and running. This one operates like the others. You can add bills, you can make armor, and you can make weapons here. You can also disassemble mechanoids if they attack, and you have some bodies to pull apart into you get metal and various other things back from disassembling mechanoids. But for now I think we'll make a couple of sniper rifles. This is similar to what we've done before. I'm going to do until you have. I'm going to keep, say, 3 in stock. Say 4 in stock. The minimum crafting skill. And this one does not have a grade, so you're just going to have to chance it. They can use whatever they need. And it's up and running. So that's it for today's tutorial. That covers the Steel Sculptors table, the Stonecutters table, the Tailor table, the Machining table, and the Fueled Smithy. See you for the next tutorial.